Be warned, there will be spoilers. Hey everybody, I'm Gino Reynolds from The Real Gino, and welcome to Spoiled, where I am about to spoil a movie for you, and today we're going to talk about Passengers. The way this movie goes is that there's a ship headed to this planet, and it takes 120 years to get there. Earth's become overpopulated, and they're going to go to this new planet, and they're taking like 5,000 people plus the crew of the ship, and they put them in cryostasis because it takes 120 years to get there, and an asteroid hits the ship, which causes Chris Pratt's character's pod to open. The way this movie started, I was a little surprised. I was actually invested right at the first because, in a way, it reminded me of Sam Rockwell's Moon, where he's just kind of isolated and all he's got is, he is a robot to talk to. In this case, it's a bartender. Because whenever they get near the planet, like 4 months, they live in luxury on the ship, and then they make it to the planet and can populate the planet. And this has Pratt's character. He's by himself for over a year, and they start to have him get a little mentally unstable. He has a little fun at first, but then it just starts to get repetitive, and he's done everything that he can. He can't get into the restricted areas because his wristband doesn't allow him to. But he's having all the fun he can, but then it just starts to get stale again, and it's been a year. And then it gets creepy. This is where I thought the movie was going to get interesting. This, honestly, should have been a thriller movie or even a horror movie, where Chris Pratt's character goes crazy and decides to do something stupid. He starts to look at the manifests, and he stumbles upon Jennifer Lawrence's character in her pod, and he looks at her, and of course, oh, she's so beautiful. I'm kind of over Jennifer Lawrence, as I stated in my review. The J-Law train has left the tracks, But anyway, that's another story we'll talk about in a minute. He starts to look into her character and finds out she's an author, and he reads all her stuff, and he says like, oh, she understands me, and it's like she's writing for me. And then he starts eating dinner near her and listening to her videos that he finds, and he's talking back to her while she's laying there next to him, and you're so funny and all this weird stuff. And I was genuinely creeped out. And I thought, really, is this where this movie's going to go? I would have been pleasantly surprised and happy about it. It gets to a point where he convinces himself to open her pod. He finds the instructions for these pods, and he opens it up. He struggles with it for a long time, but then he finally does it and runs off. And of course, he doesn't tell her. Long story short, he tells the robot, who's the bartender, let me tell her, but he never does. And that comes back to bite him in the butt later. But, he gets her out of the pod, and they kind of become friends, and then he asks her out, and they fall in love. And I thought, okay, if they twist this into he's going to be creepy, I'm still going to be invested. I didn't love the movie, but I was hoping it was going to take a different turn than it did. The bartender does end up telling her, right before he's going to propose to her, by the way, he tells her, oh yeah, he let you out of the pod, and of course that puts a rift between the two. Then of course she's understandably mad, and she wants nothing to do with him. I mean, come on, he let her out and lied to her about it. They had sex a lot, which honestly I kind of consider it rape, because he lied to her, and he's just lying to her the whole time. They fell in love over a lie, and I don't know, I almost felt like he was almost using her. I know that's not what the movie wants you to feel, but he kind of is. And even later she says, he murdered me, took my life, and he did. And I really thought, okay, there's only one way this movie can end where this could be somewhat justified, And then there's the ending I thought that was going to happen. And of course, this movie did not take a chance. For me, I thought, okay, there came a scene where they have to fix the ship, and they it gets to a point where Pratt's character has to go out and open this vent door, and Lawrence's character has to vent it from the inside, and it's gonna kill Pratt's character. The flames are gonna come out and bust him out into space, or burn him, or he could have died many different ways. And they get in the whole, if you've seen the trailer, it's the no, you die, I die bull crap. And I thought, if he sacrifices himself, then he did it for her. He really did love her, even though he was still a little creepy. He did it for her, and he still saved her life, but it would have been terrible still, because he still took her life from her. She'd be alone, and it would have been a nice twist if me and a friend of mine were talking, and we were like, yeah, it would have been a cool twist if, okay, he dies, then she's alone, then she goes crazy, and she opens up a pod, because she's so lonely. But that would have been justifiable. But no, he opens the vent, and he flies out into space, and then she goes and saves him, and puts him in the Ex Machina all Healy machine, and, is... long story short, she's able to fix him, and he's back alive. And she has pretty much forgiven him. And then I'm like, okay, it's going to end the way I thought it's going to end. But then they put another wrinkle into it. And I'm like, all right, you've got one more chance to at least be a solid-ish story. This all Healy Ex Machina pod is able to kind of become a cryotube. These tubes, they needed whole teams to put these people in. That's why they couldn't re-put themselves to sleep. But this tube apparently could do it. It could serve as one. And Pratt's character says, I'm going to put you in this. I'm giving you your life back. And she's like, but you'll be alone. And he's like, I've been alone a long time. And I'm like, damn it. There's no way she's going to be put back in this pod. But I would have gave the movie a lot of credit if they would have done that. Like, you would, everyone in the end would wake up and she would be in the pod, and Pratt's character would be found like dead, like an old man or something at the end. But no. And I have a feeling that maybe they shot that ending, because the ending of this movie is abrupt as hell. And I have this feeling that maybe they shot the ending and audiences did not like it, because, happy Hollywood endings, right? But no, of course, it shows him in a pool, and then she swims up to him, and they look out, and it's like, it's a hell of a life. And then the end of the movie, which takes like a whole 2 minutes, it jumps ahead, and everyone wakes up, and they've lived their life on the ship. They don't even show them. They just left a recording saying, a lot has happened since you were asleep. And that's basically it. Andy Garcia's in this movie. He comes out. He's Lawrence Fishburne was one of the captains, and I didn't really talk about it, but he woke up early because there was a ship malfunction, and he died real quick. His tube messed him up. But Andy Garcia comes out. He's like the other pilot or captain or whatever, and he comes out, no lines, no nothing. It's Andy Garcia. It's like he must have had lines or something. But they just cut all that out. He just kind of walked down. It's like, oh, hey, it's Andy Garcia. Cameo, I guess. And, yeah, so the movie ends on that sappy, happy Hollywood bullcrap ending. Didn't take any chances when it totally could have become a somewhat acceptable movie. But in the end, it just, for me, it failed. I mean, honestly, it was failing for me anyway. The creepy part would have worked out if, say, Pratt's character would have been like this, ended up, being a creepy guy in the movie instead of just being creepy. If he would have been like a psycho or something. But it just, Jennifer Lawrence and Chris Pratt, for me, had no chemistry whatsoever. I know it's popular to get the it people together. It's like, ooh, Chris Pratt's the it guy, and Jennifer Lawrence, for some reason, is the it girl, and let's put them together. And yeah, hopefully they'll become a couple. And they suck. I'm sorry, they're terrible together. They have no chemistry. And that's nothing against Pratt. You know, I really like him. But, I mean, if you look at movies like Guardians of the Galaxy, him and Zoe Saldana have great chemistry together. And with this, I don't know, Jennifer Lawrence, I just don't buy her anymore. For me, she hasn't honestly done a good movie since probably Silver Linings Playbook. I'd have to really think about it, but I just I'm over her, and I don't buy her as a couple with Pratt, especially. Um, she just didn't have any chemistry with him, and if they would have had chemistry, it would have been a better movie. But then again, you had the creep factor and everything else. So it's just, all in all, for me, it was somewhat of a failure, pretty much a failure of a love story, which is what it was trying to be. That's going to do it for this edition of Spoiled. I hope you enjoyed it. If you want to see more of these videos, feel free to comment below and let me know. If you like what you've seen here, please subscribe to the Real Gino YouTube channel. Give this video a thumbs up. Until next time, I'm Gino Reynolds from The Real Gino.